Hi there, and welcome to the Real Monica Adams Show with Mama Jackie. We wanted to do this together because we're going to talk to a mother-daughter team. And maybe you've had a chance to see Mildred. She went viral on Instagram, several platforms. I saw this on the Today Show and thought, we have to get her on the show. So Mildred and her daughter, Gayle Kirschenbaum, we're going to talk with them today. You and I had a chance to see the movie.
Yes.
And we'll be giving our feedback on the movie, but I just love to watch how this relationship has transferred. You're going to hear some of this stuff and it might make you gasp of what, and think that they never would be able to reconcile the relationship, let alone become the best of friends, traveling together. And here's what I love, and a lot of people have seen this, that Mildred is 100 years old. My mother, by the way, is 85 and looks incredible. Well, Mildred does as well. Yeah, so she's got another 15 years on you, Mom. So you can ask her for some advice to make it another 15 years. Let's bring them on. Here we go. Mildred and Gayle. Hello to the two of you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for inviting us.
You have been so much fun to watch, both of you, and your incredible advice, Mildred, that we'll be getting to. But I watched your movie, Gayle, and it's so well done. Gayle, by the way, is a filmmaker and a painter and a photographer and so very into the arts. So first of all, kudos to you. It was engaging on so many levels. The two of you, your relationship is played out in this. And you actually did this movie, Looking as Now Mother, that was never really even going to be made for an audience. So you actually put that at the very beginning, like, sorry for some of this, but it wasn't shot for anybody else but us initially. Tell me about that.
Well, actually, I came from television myself, and I lived in LA for years behind the camera, doing nonfiction programming, long form, short form, everything from
She won an Emmy.
Yes, she did. I saw the award.
My first film for the PBS affiliate. But anyway, and then I moved back to New York, where I'm from, and I had rescued a little dog. I say it was a mutual rescue. And then everywhere I took her, she was a little Shih Tzu. I used to direct for America's Most Wanted. I get a call, be in South Central LA, with the detectives, coming from news and whatnot. So I'd show up. I had my dog with me, and anyway, she transformed my life. She was, gotta straighten the hair out here. Sorry. You know what? I'm looking at the screen, but it's actually like reversed. So you have
Yes, exactly.
It's like backwards, everybody. So if I look like a spastic, you know why. So in any event, I ended up making a film with her. It was going to be a TV show pilot, but it was a film called The Dog's Life, a documentary. I had a camera built for her years before GoPro existed. Yes. And I had someone who rigged the cameras for Taxi Cab Confessions on HBO. And he worked with law enforcement. He loved dogs. So he made a little camera. And so it was funny and wacky as it began, Sex and the City meets Best in Show, a single woman and her dog looking for love on the streets of New York. This is well over 20 years ago. And then 9/11 happened, and I live very near. So we threw off the doggy cam, and life was about helping people. And she got certified to be a therapy dog. And then she started doing miracle work. I knew she was a healer for me. Anyway, long story short, that put me in front of the camera, got a lot of media. And then I said, all right, Mom, you've always wanted me to have a nose job. And she'd been after me since I was very young. I'm a baby boomer. So at the time and place I grew up on Long Island, having a nose job for women was a rite of passage. And so I actually have very curly hair, everyone. You're seeing it straightened because I just had my color done. So they blew it out.
I was going to say, because in the movie, your mom talks a lot about the hair and the nose. So
Right.
Yeah, go a little bit more into the nose job.
Okay, so as I said, it was very commonplace. My mother would go, oh, I saw your friend Donna today, who just had a nose job. She looks great. And I didn't want one. I came out of the womb a very sensitive, creative type. I think I was born a hippie. And I just, my nose didn't bother me, but it bothered her, bothered my father. And it was trending. It was what you did. Particularly, we're Jewish. And so it was also about like kind of fitting in type thing. So in any event, I fought this for years and decades. And then after that doggy film, which is Dog's Life, a documentary, which premiered on HBO, people thought, oh, you're great in front of the camera. I was never in news in front of the camera. So I thought, oh, all right, Mom, you've always wanted me to have a nose job. So you know what I'm going to do? I will give you 3 consultations that we go to a plastic surgeon because you've been dying to get me to a plastic surgeon's office as long as I can have a camera crew. And she didn't care about me having the camera crew. And what the result of that was a very short film called My Nose, about her relentless campaign to get me to have a nose job. It is that movie. So as a short film, and it played in festivals, it plays with other films, and I'd be on the stage with other filmmakers. And when, I'd get off, that line was always in front of me, and they said the same three things, and I'm sure you're going to appreciate it. I love your nose, don't touch it. I can't stand your mother. And I'm thinking, you've hardly seen anything yet. And 3 is let me tell you my story. And everybody was telling me their stories. And I was much younger then, it was around 2009. And there were people who are my age now. One woman opened her coat to show me her weight issues attributing to her long deceased mother. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm not alone. There are so many people that have childhood trauma that are adults, seniors, and they haven't let go of that. And I turned to my mother and I said, well, I need to let you know one thing. Wait, I got to go reverse, right? I'm like spastic here, right? So when it played in Washington, D.C., we did end up on the cover of the Washington Post style section, because one of the many things my mother always said, this is for the older people who are listening, is that my nose looks like the Indian on the Buffalo nickel.
She said it on the shoulder, yeah.
You saw that. So, and she has a point. So in my film, there's my profile next to the Indian, right? So the Washington Post grabbed that image. It was a big image. It was a big photo. And the first line into the article was, if you have a mother like Gayle Kirschenbaum, you better get yourself into psychoanalysis. So here's the thing. I showed it to my mother, and her reaction was, great. Bad press is better than no press. I'm on the cover of the Washington Post.
Exactly.
You always have to look at the positive sign of life. And
that's why, Mildred, that's why I wanted you on the show, because that's what this show is all about. And I mean, the two of you had a tumultuous, very rocky relationship that's obviously played out in this movie. But Mildred, why was it such a big thing for her to have a nose job? Why did you want that done?
A mother wants, I'm speaking to your mother now. A mother wants the best for her children. And if she enhanced her nose, we thought it was a little big. It was it was out of love. Out of love that my husband and I wanted it. Not to hurt her.
So in the movie,
but Gayle when Gayle was born, I have to tell you, she was born into a numbers family. And here came this little girl, this little artist, yay big. Gave her a coloring book. She didn't scribble. She put polka dots and flowers into the girl's dress, in the coloring book.
That's an artist.
The artist. But the artist had a mind of her own. She was born with a strong mind of her own.
Well, there's a part in the movie. What? She's pointing to me, Mildred. So, Mildred, there's a point in the movie where you say she was a bitchy little girl at the age of 4.
Yes. Yes. Because if I went in to buy a bathing suit, and years ago, they had the black bathing suit, one side gold, one side black, with stones down there. She picks up the bathing suit and she says, it's not for you, it's for me.
Now, I'm a 4-year-old little girl, probably 3. You would think that would be cute and you wouldn't be upset by your little kid.
Right.
Different reaction. So anyway, what I wanted just to finish is that when I saw the reaction to the My Nose film, this little short, fluffy film, I saw the pain people were in, I turned to my mother and I said, Mom, would you be willing to work on our relationship in front of the camera? And I knew she was going to say yes, because I saw that reaction to the article, and I knew she loved attention at all costs.
No.
Oh.
I said yes, because if it makes you happy and gives you peace of mind, I would do anything in this world. That's why I said yes. Don't put words in my mouth. We argue all the time.
But you have found your way to forgiveness, by the way, which is huge. And I know, Gayle, you became a forgiveness coach through all of this.
Due to my so when she said yes, I knew I had a gold mine because of all these things. One, she became really funny because when I was young, to me, she was the wicked witch of the West. Two is she's very smart and quick. The one-liners.
Yes.
Three, having seen the film, I have this huge archive of 8mm footage because we had this footage. Because when my father stopped shooting, I started shooting. Plus, I knew there was a big archive to tell their story. I remember seeing my father's World War II books. He was very proud of himself with the bare-breasted Native women of the South Pacific. So I knew that existed. My mother has tons of pictures of herself. You would have thought she was a model. Tons when she was a teenager, very fashionista.
Yes.
I
So
was a model in the
I was going to say, I thought you did model a little bit, right? Garment.
in the garment center.
So she has
yes.
tons of pictures. And then I started my genealogy in 1981. So I have audio interviews with people. This is before computers, like with her. The little bit of my grandmother's voice was like a phone call from 1981. So I knew I had this archive, which is a dream for a documentarian. And I'm an open person. So I had everything I needed. So that was the hardest film I made. And also, what do I keep thinking I'm going the wrong way? I got sick. I developed an autoimmune disease because as a storyteller, I'm thinking, how am I going to tell this story and not be like this, older woman complaining about her childhood? I knew I kept journals, as a sensitive, creative soul. I ran to my journals. I drew in my journals, but I thought they were long gone. And after several months of searching, I found the box. And I opened up that box and I sat down and I read them. And I didn't know there was a connection, but I developed a disease in my fingers, which was, so, the mind, body, spirit, and I like to talk about that. So I developed, they called it psoriasis. You can call it anything you want to call it, but Western science could not help me. I was on prednisone. I was on tons and tons of different things, everything, but I stopped. Okay, so can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so that was excruciating, and I had to wear gloves. And so 4 years of that, I had no fingerprints. And then I learned Western medicine definitely did not help me. And even I went to Chinatown and did herbs, and that didn't help me. But I lived in LA for years, and I had this great acupuncturist chiropractor. He was both Dr. Wells, a really good name for a doctor. I sent him the pictures. I said, "Can you help me? I will fly out there." He wrote, "You need love." I said, "I know, but I'm alone now." His next email is, "What about your dog?" I said, "Well, she died." His third email was, "You have to trick yourself." And as soon as he said that, I knew this was emotional. I knew that I had relived my trauma, and it came in through my skin and my hands. Because my skin was where when my mother put me in organdy to dress me up, I would get welts and stuff. And then hands, you hold on to things, right? So it was all coming out this way. And so I learned energy healing. I learned tapping. I learned Qigong and meditation. I did this every day, twice a day. And within a month, my skin came back. And that's what I do when I'm stressed out. So we're so powerful. We can get ourselves sick and we can heal ourselves.
And you all that watch this show on a regular basis know that that's what I'm all about. I taught the triangle of life to my life coaching clients and all my clients that I personal train, that the mental side, the physical side, the spiritual side, all has to come together. You can absolutely make yourself sick, but you can work on the healing aspect and being your own health and wellness advocate as well. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Gayle and Mildred Kirschenbaum, and I want you to follow them on Instagram. Mildred has become this international social media influencer, which I love the fact that you're 100 years old, Mildred. This is incredible. And the world is all showing up for you. You're getting cards from everywhere. You're getting jewelry from everywhere. Did you say that necklace was actually given to you from someone?
Actually came in from Dublin, Ireland.
Love this. So 100 years old, I mean, that's a long time and a lot of, you've gone through so many generations, so much that this world has seen. And what's playing out is everybody getting a chance to see you and your daughter. I mean, I'm looking through everything from what I watched in the documentary, Look at Us Now, Mother. And you've been through so much together, but you have found forgiveness. So instead of focusing on all the negativity, but I do want to paint the picture for people to understand. Again, stressing, I want you to have a nose job, constantly asking, why aren't you married? Always getting into arguments. Why do you think there was such pushback on her and not necessarily your sons?
My sons were not, she was a more difficult child. She really was. My number one son sort of was an easy child to raise. He did what he was supposed to do. Number two was a little, number two, I think he couldn't read English. I think it cost me cost my husband and I mega money. We never gave up sending him to schools, to St. John's University in the summertime. He went into a 2-year school and all of a sudden a light bulb opened up. And went right into the School of Science and went into medicine. So my advice to parents, don't give up on your children. Never.
Yeah.
Well, when you look back at the relationship with you and Gayle, though, and I know you said she was a difficult child. I don't know if Gayle would agree with that. Maybe she would if she looks back at things. The two of you went through therapy. That's played out in the film. I'm sure even thinking of going to that was something that you didn't want to do, Mildred. Are you glad you went through the therapy?
Absolutely. I am. I really am.
What do you think it uncovered in you that you didn't see before, that the therapist helped you see?
To respect Gayle for who she is.
And not that's the one thing that I wrote down in my notes as parents.
Yes. As a matter of fact,
try.
even when she never showed, I viewed the film with an audience.
Many times.
I never saw it before.
Right.
Is that true?
She never, so to answer what she's trying to say is that she never asked to see it before I released the film. My elder brother, who unfortunately passed away.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, he was very concerned. So what I did is I had a private screen of 100 people at NYU, of which I knew maybe half of the people, and flew Mom up, and my brother was there, and there was a standing ovation. So she totally trusted me. She let me go with it, which, not many daughters have mothers who would be willing to do that. So I'm forever grateful that she.
I was absolutely flabbergasted. The way she took old film and entwined it into today's world for a movie. Her talent was outstanding.
Yes. Did you have more respect for her after you saw it?
I never lost respect for her. We just didn't agree. There's a
Even trying to park a car, you were always
There's
arguing.
a difference between respect and agree. Even today, we don't agree on a lot of things. I hang up on her. She hangs up on me. But we never stay angry. Never stay angry.
And Gayle and Mildred both, I'll ask both of you this because, I mean, here you are 100 years, which is just absolutely incredible, but we know how short life is and why go into a day, all right, why go into a day not wrapping up an argument because you don't know if you're promised tomorrow, right?
You know what? I tell something to my children. Never go to bed angry. If you go to bed angry, you're angry the first night, you're angry the second night, the third night you want a divorce, the fourth night you don't even know what you were fighting about.
Mm-hmm. So
never
true.
go to bed angry. Don't hang on to it.
Yes.
My husband and I argued every day, but we finished. As soon as we finished the argument, would you rather have soup or salad?
I think they had a lot of good makeup sex.
Oh, there you go. That's it. That's why you want to get an argument.
Well, don't you remember what
And
she,
you know what,
she
today,
said in the movie?
And you know what today?
What?
I will tell you how I feel. And Gayle is honest. She'll tell you how she feels. I would rather go on vacation with Gayle than with anyone else.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
it's Gayle, myself, and my number 2 son.
So regarding your question about the differential treatment and why I was treated so totally different, and just so people know, I was the youngest of 3.
Right.
I had 2 older brothers. Family planning, we were spaced 4 years apart. So between me and my elder brother, we were 8 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for anybody who saw the film, my mother thought she's having Gary.
Yes.
She told everyone she was having a boy. That's a boy's name. And back in that day, she didn't have
I took a saliva test. I'll show you how stupid I was.
I remember that.
Oh my God.
Saliva test.
Yeah.
And they said, you're going to have a boy. And they also said, we could be 50% wrong. How stupid is that? So I'm going to have a 3rd boy. We'll call it Gary. So she holds that against me that you wanted a boy. What mother in her right mind, anywhere in this world, any race, any creed, if you have 2 girls, you want a boy. If you have 2 boys, you want a girl.
So
not in her eyes.
Okay, so hang on a minute, guys. So I'm not good at math. She likes to share that I'm not a numbers person in a numbers family. But I do know what 50% means. I do, I'm quick on that one. So if you took a test and it said, let me see if I get this right. Okay. And it says 50% you're going to have a boy, then I know what that means. And if you didn't want one, why would you tell everyone you're bringing Gary home from the hospital? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, there's a certain type of woman who leans on the narcissistic level, where there's more, they don't do well with daughters. Okay. Well, there's so much written about if you go and Google on Amazon categories about family relationships, the biggest category are daughters of narcissistic mothers. And I hear from people all the time, I became a forgiveness coach because I figured it out. Because I was 50, I was having a great career in entertainment. And every time I went home, I became the victim. The bullying continued. I was filled with rage and anger. And it was like I had 2 lives. I had this professional life and I had this life when I was with my family. And I knew that the only way I can change that is I had to learn how to forgive, and I had to start with my mother.
Absolutely.
So that's when I went on the journey. And that's why now I teach others, because I want to help as many people as possible, because I know the pain.
Yes.
And I also know the freedom when you figure it out and how you can change that.
What a journey it has been. We're going to talk more about that when we return. More with Gayle and Mildred Kirschenbaum when we return. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online, envitahealthandwellness.com. Thank you so much for tuning into the Real Monica Adams Show. We've been talking with Gayle and Mildred Kirschenbaum. You've probably seen them on Instagram. Again, viral sensation, social media influencers. Mildred turning 100 years old. Again, happy birthday. So incredible. My mom, I say all the time, and she's okay with me saying it because both of you look beautiful and are so spry and so active. She's 85. So Mildred, you've got 15 years on her. Both of you do one of the number one things, I think, to keep yourself looking as good as you do. You both work out. You're both into fashion. And you both have said the exact same thing. Mildred, she told me the same thing you told Gayle, and that is to always make sure that you look good. She always used to say, it doesn't matter if you're running up to a grocery store or where you are. You don't know if you're going to meet the person that you might end up marrying. You don't know if you'll run into a past boss or people you went to school with, and you surely don't want them to say,
oh my gosh, look what happened to her.
Exactly.
My husband used to say, we're just going to the grocery store. I said, I don't care. I don't know who I'm going to meet. I want to look good.
Exactly. So Mildred said the same thing. Mildred, do you still work out today?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did you ever have problems with your mother?
No,
Her or me?
no.
Both of
Me, my mother,
Both?
no. My mother was a sweetheart.
Yes, and my mother is a doll. She is my best friend, as the two of you are best friends, but
always?
always. She's always been my greatest supporter. She is a saint.
Are you many generations in America? You're
Yes.
yeah. Are
Yeah,
you
so she's German and
German
Bohemian.
and Bohemian, or now they would say Czechoslovakian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my father was Irish and Scotch Irish.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, generations have been here. But you, I mean, that's the thing. Do you think maybe it's a generation? You've been talking about that kind of in the past. Do you think that you think so?
You mean about generational trauma?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's passed on big time. And my mom is of the generation, and also I think growing up in the old country and being Jewish, my grandparents fled the pogroms. We only lost my grandmother's sister and her family in the Holocaust because everybody had gotten out. But they never talked about anything. I think if you might remember in the movie, when I found my mother's, she's outlived everybody now, but her two surviving first cousins, and had a little reunion. And then I said, "Did you know my mother had a sister who died?" They said no. And then my mother's cousin Tilly said, "If someone had cancer, you didn't tell anybody."
Yep.
So as my grandmother said it, and I have it in the film, when you laugh, the world laughs with you. When you cry alone. So my mother was raised like her mother was, that you bury those emotions. It's all about the practical, right? You got to handle things. My grandmother had a lot of tragedy in her childhood, and you don't lick your wounds. You just figure it out. You go make a living, you get a job, you start, whatever you do, you handle the practical. But all those emotions get buried. And then I come along, the baby boomer generation, and we're like, what's going on? Why were you like this? Where did it come from? And we're like prying and digging. And they, as I end my movie, like, how do people deal with trauma? Some people choose to forget it and bury it, like my mother, who, as you recall, there's a little moment in the film where she said it so many times, I edited it together of her saying it, I don't know, I don't remember, right?
I remember, yeah.
Right. So that's a way of just not dealing with it. And then you've got me, first of all, a super sensitive person and empath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who, by the way, the therapist, Dr. Pamela Thompson, who I think is incredible, who's in my film, said essentially I was a misfit for my family.
Right.
Which I do want to share with your audience, because there's a lot of, my mother said I was a bitchy little girl, right? And the therapist then said, well, a lot happens between 0 and 3 and 0 and 4. Like what?
Very formative years.
Yes.
Right. So I was very intuitive. I came out of the womb. I mean, I don't know if anybody believes this, old souls or not old souls, but I feel like I came here with knowledge, like as an old soul, into a family of new souls. And so I knew when I was being criticized, and there was physical abuse too along the way, but I realized that it wasn't.
What physical abuse?
All right. We won't go there.
Why not?
You don't remember?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
That's powerful. Please do.
Yeah. Okay, you never hit me, and my brother never beat the hell out of me and strapped me down.
Oh, your brother beat the hell out of you?
And
but in most families, siblings fight.
Yes.
Okay, anyway, we'll just leave that alone. And but you know what? It's the emotional, to tell you the truth, it's the emotional abuse. It's in the movie. I mean, I was a little kid, and she had my brothers put me on the refrigerator. I couldn't
That's
get
what I was going to get to. But Mildred, why did you do that? Why did you put her up on the refrigerator?
Because she was probably doing something in the kitchen when I was busy preparing for company. And so it was in the way.
You couldn't get yourself down. How'd you get down?
So to get her out of the way, we put her on top of the refrigerator so I could finish my work, and then we took her down.
You also have a time where, and this is something I brought up on the show the other day, and everyone was saying, what mother would do that to their daughter? I told a story about a friend of mine that was at the store, and she was trying clothes on. And when she walked out of the dressing room, this mother stopped my friend and said, hey, can you tell me what you think of this outfit my daughter's trying on? And she goes, oh, yeah, that looks great. She goes, but hold on, can you wait for a second? Tell me what you think about this outfit. And as the little girl went back in to try on the other outfit, she looked at my friend and said, don't you think she needs to have a boob job? And my friend was like, what? And she goes, she's flat chested. Don't you think she'll be better off in life if she has a boob job? And my friend didn't know what to say. And she's like, well, I think she's beautiful no matter what. And I don't think you should force something like that on her. So, Gayle, you have a part in the movie where you said that your mom said you were flat chested before you developed. And did she put foam rubber in your swimsuit? And it fell out and you were embarrassed.
This is like the most, I mean, to tell the story today, it's funny, but as a 13-year-old, it was so humiliating. We were actually in Puerto Rico, and back in the day, those bathing suits had hard cups. And
Yeah.
so, if you pushed it in, it would stay in. So
Yeah.
she would cut pieces of foam rubber and stick them in my bathing suit. And here I am in a swimming pool. I think I was getting a swimming lesson or something.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, the foam rubber came floating out. It was like, oh my God, I was just found out. And I was trying to grab it, and the evidence was out. It was so humiliating. You have no idea.
God,
See, and now
yes.
looking back at that, Mildred, what do you think about the fact all these things that Gayle went through? That's horrifying for a child.
It is, but I didn't think of it that time.
Yep. So do you really believe that all the therapy that you went
I didn't do it to be malicious.
You didn't. Okay. And you say something, I do want to say this, because at the end of the movie, it's very endearing. You say, I'm happy that we're friends. And you also apologize near the end. You said it wasn't intentional. I hope you can forgive me. And then Gayle says, I have forgiven you. You also bring up a very good point, and you say, address the fact of the people who don't talk to their parents. And we've talked on the show before about elder abuse, and suddenly the adult children just leaving the parents alone after everything they have done. Even if it's a tumultuous relationship, they still raised you. But talk about that, address that. What's your feelings on that?
But people who don't talk to their parents,
Yes.
I feel sorry for the parents.
Yeah.
They could have been the worst parents in the world. If they didn't abuse you, whatever they did, they thought was right. They deserve a phone call. Hey, Mom, are you alive? How do you feel?
Yeah.
But you know what it is? I solved that problem. It's not your sons and daughters. It's who they marry.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
It's who they marry. You have a son who marries someone who says, I can't stand your mother. She's a bitch. She's this. He doesn't talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a daughter who marries a husband and says, I don't want to see your family anymore. Your father is no good. He didn't give you this. He should have given you that. They don't talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
That's a lot of power they give them.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, Gayle and I had a discussion rather recently. We said there's nothing wrong with the Kirschenbaums. It's who they marry. Is that true? Didn't we talk about that recently?
Well,
Gayle, you haven't married, is that right? Or
no. So I think that's my trauma. I think that's a result of my trauma, because I think around age 12, I said, I'm never going to let anybody hurt me like this, because I did grow up feeling, I definitely had a Cinderella complex. When I was very young, I was sure I was adopted, because I couldn't see my brothers being loved and adored. And I felt like the slave, quite honestly. And so I think at around 12, I said I was never going to let anybody hurt me like that. So I certainly had my relationships, and I'm not, and I actually feel like I am going to one day. I'm
get
just
married?
a late bloomer.
A late.
I
I
feel
didn't
like
get married till what? It'll be, I was like mid 40s. I didn't want to marry until I absolutely knew that I wouldn't get a divorce. And I knew I wouldn't, because I am back together with someone I dated back in 2001. We found our way back to each other. True soulmates. You actually talk about soulmates in the movie. You ask your mom if your father was her soulmate. And what was your response in the movie, Mildred?
When I get up during the night, And I looked at my husband. I knew he was my best friend.
You had 62 years of marriage, is that right?
Yes.
And he died from a stroke.
And to the day the day he died, he always held the umbrella for me, opened the car door, pulled the chair out.
So what advice would you give to the people? Because we talked the other day about marriage and trying to make marriage thrive, and everybody just always wants it to be so easy. It's not easy. It's the resilience of staying together.
Yeah.
What's your advice on marriage,
The
Mildred?
same thing. Argue. Don't carry grudges. If you have something to say, say it. But don't carry it. End it. When the sentence is over, it's gone and forgotten.
Yeah.
Do you
Any
agree with me?
She asked if you agree with her.
Oh, yes.
100%. And they didn't have, I mean, my father died when he was only 59 years old, so they had 32 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
They just would have celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. But we were very real, and we talked about it. That's why I love the real aspect of the documentary that you have. I talked about the fact that my dad had an alcohol problem, but he never hurt her, never hit her. But verbally abusive is one of the biggest things.
Yes.
Verbal abuse scars, and then the communication. We just wish that he would have talked about losing his mother. When he lost his mother, we think that's when he turned to alcohol. You know, Mildred, you lost your sister at the age of 1. And
you know what? I want to interrupt you for a minute.
Yeah, please.
Gail said, I don't remember. How old was I when my sister died? I should have remembered a funeral. In the Jewish religion, you have awake, we have Shiva.
Oh.
I don't remember Shiva. I don't remember anything. To today, was I shielded?
That's what you said. She just said this the same thing I was going to say. Do you think it was too traumatic, and anything that was trauma that you decided
Was
to?
I shielded? Was I sent away to an aunt, to a cousin when this went on? I don't know. I honestly do not know. I have no memory. I remember when she died because my mother and father rented a place in Coney Island because they said the salt air would be good for her lungs. You know, she died of pneumonia. Today, you get a shot of penicillin and you're finished. And I was at the beach, and my aunt was watching me, and everyone was running to the back. By the way, my name was Mindy. The whole family calls me Grandma Mindy, Nanny Mindy, so on. But it was so ethnic, Mindela, that I said, call me Mildred. So I was at the beach. The reason I tell you, and I'm running to the back, and my aunt's yelling, Mindy, where you going? And I pushed my way through the crowd, and I come to the curb, and I see the policeman picking up my sister and putting her in the ambulance, whatever. She died there. That I remember. After that, everything went blank.
Yeah. Then she blocked it all out.
Yeah.
Even in a dream, I don't remember it.
It's a hard place to go to in your mind, and that trauma.
Yeah.
I'm going to take another quick break. Again, very powerful interview with Mildred and Gayle Kirschenbaum. We talk about the highs and the lows of life, and you see this play out. I really want you to see the documentary. We'll tell you where you can get a chance to view it. We've got about 20 minutes left here. We've got more fun things to talk about as well, because 100 years, there's a lot of advice that Mildred can give us. More with Gayle and Mildred when we return.
It's the icing on the cake.
The final brush stroke.
The finishing touches make all the difference in your home, too.
Have fun and get started at carolhouse.com/room planner.
With thousands of accessories in our 3.5-acre showrooms.
Get your picture perfect room and the lowest prices in the country at Carol House.
Because you like nice things.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com. 314-567-5585. And welcome back, The Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We're talking about life, real aspects. And one of the greatest things that I love about this movie that I want you to get a chance to see is that Gayle puts it all out there and that Mildred viewed it and says, wow, and has come back and said, I didn't realize that I was doing all those things. And then they have found their way. They went through therapy, which I highly recommend anybody that's struggling through things that you do just that. Find your way to forgiveness again. And Gayle became a forgiveness coach through all of this, which is therapeutic in and of itself. Let's talk about some fun things. So Mildred, this is amazing. 100 years old, which is just absolutely incredible. You still drive.
Yes.
You live on your own in Florida.
Yes.
And you trade stocks. And
Yes.
Gayle said that you manage your own portfolio. So this is amazing. And I want you to say, because she gets frustrated sometimes when my husband says, I can't believe you still let your mom drive. It scares me. She shouldn't be driving. I think she still does good, but that's taking a big part of your independence away. So Gayle, have you ever, and I'll ask both of this, Gayle, have you ever said, I don't know if mom should still be driving?
No. Well, first of all, she knows, and she can say this, her limitations.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I know my limitations.
Yes.
I am not going to go out of far. I stay within a radius.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the supermarket. I live in a gated community and we have a little clubhouse. I go to the clubhouse. And I'm a designated driver on Wednesday. And my friends, all of them are at least 20 years younger. I buried everyone my age. Or 15 years younger. And they don't mind going with me. But if we are playing bridge, canasta, and they said, well, tonight we want to go, and they name a place, then I will turn around and say to one of the ladies, today's my turn to drive, but I'm not driving. I don't go that far.
Huh?
So I know my parameters.
When did you get to that point?
If I
You used to go on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
How long ago did you stop driving on the highway?
I still go on the highway, but
Oh,
I
you
don't
do?
go far.
Okay.
I go to Costco.
You got to go to Costco. I mean, that's got to be in your, right? I mean, how could you not reach Costco?
Have you been in
Yeah.
any accidents?
No, thank goodness.
I have to just say she's a very good driver.
Okay.
Even though, and she used to say she drives better inebriated than her friends.
Oh, no. You still have a drink?
Wait a minute. If you look in Florida and you see the drivers, you can't see them.
Right. They shrink below the steering wheel.
And you know what else?
What?
Nobody knows there's a new invention.
What
in
is
the
it?
car called directionals.
Exactly.
Yes.
You don't know where they're going. I come out to the exit of my community, and there's a car on the other side of the light. I have blinkers if I'm going right or left or straight.
Yes.
I have to guess where he's going so I don't hit him when the light turns green.
There are the worst drivers here in Florida. I mean,
I don't know. St. Louis has some bad ones.
Yeah.
well, the highways are filled. They think it's a racetrack.
Yes.
And then, but she does know her limitations, and you know what? She does. I mean, she's like 20 years younger, right? Look at her brains.
But
right?
if I got a call, Gayle is in New York, and if I got a call, my son lives in the Orlando area. That's about 150 miles, 125 miles or something from here.
3-hour drive.
3-hour drive.
Okay.
That something he's sick in the hospital, or my granddaughter, I will not hesitate to get in that car and drive up there on the turnpike. But that's for an emergency.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I have to tell you, she used to do this drive a lot. And I was very worried because I got her into books and tapes. So the time goes by, right?
Except when I watched Stephen King, I would go up the road. I'm only kidding. Listen to him.
But I was getting quite concerned about this drive, and I had to enroll both my brothers to work on my mom because there is a train that goes from Southern Florida to the Orlando area. So then she started using the train. But yeah, no, she definitely. But the one thing I do want to share with your listeners, viewers, whatever, is she allowed me to do something here because I live in New York. And even though I spent a solid year with her during COVID, because she did end up sick, not with COVID, but something else. And I do come here frequently and for extended periods of time. But she did allow me to do something that I was after for years. When I was in France in December and January 2020, right before the COVID, the outbreak, she was my brother and she tripped in his house and she broke her shoulder. And after a week's stay there, he sent her home and she was home by herself. As soon as I got back from France, I came and I stayed 3 months and managed her care. And then she let me do what I wanted to do for years. And I think she's happy about it. We have cameras all over the house. We use Ring cameras, which, I could probably do ads for them. But, it's an app on the phone, so I can keep an eye on her, and I have them outside, inside, every room. And so there was an incident. So cut to June of 2020, I had to get out of New York. We were the epicenter. We were locked up. And I rented a place up in Lake Placid in the Adirondack Mountains. And about 2 weeks into my stay, she said she hadn't felt well, but she has stomach issues all the time. So I thought, my usual call. But I thought, let me go on the app and see if she's up yet. And I saw her next to her bed on the ground, and her head was going up like this. And I'm thinking she's throwing up. Now, the great thing about these cameras is you can talk through them.
Yes.
And so she told me she slipped out of her bed and she couldn't get up because it's a hard floor. Anyway, I got someone in there who lifted her. And anyway, she did end up in the hospital with acute diverticulitis. And I did end up coming down. And that's when I stayed for the year. But those cameras are a lifesaver. Don't you feel good knowing I'm watching you?
I want to tell you what I did.
What?
I had a physical therapist come in when I broke the shoulder. And now the shoulder's healed and it came back. I said, I'm going to tell you what I want. I want you to go with me through every room in this house. And if I fall, I want to plan on how I could get up.
Yes.
And he taught me what to do, how to get up.
Yep.
So
not everybody does that.
No, they don't. And let me say this. I trained seniors for about 3.5 years at Friendship Village here in St. Louis. And one of the things they always asked me, Monica, you're teaching us how to lift weights and strengthen our core. But one woman who was 95, she said, would you please teach me how to get back up out of a fall because no one's there for us. And that was the biggest thing that we started working on. So I'm so glad you brought that up because it's imperative that you know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when it came to the kitchen, you know how you have those cushion mats in front of your sink?
Yes.
So I had one of those in New York, and I was speaking to her
I didn't have
therapist.
one.
Right. So I was here with a therapist discussing and, working in the rooms. And so I said, what if I get one of these? And then it's right in front of the sink. So of course it's scoot your butt. So you just scoot your butt over and get in a position where your knees are cushioned and there's something to grab that you can lift yourself up.
Yeah.
So recently, tell them about your keys. What happened with your keys? With your front door and you tripped?
Oh, stupidity. Everyone does things negligence. I came in, I have an alarm system.
Huh?
Came into the house alone, I drove wherever. and turned the alarm on, and I dropped my keys, and it was dark. No, it wasn't dark. I put a little light on. Instead of getting myself comfortable and leaving the keys there, I went to pick it up. And that particular day, I wore a sandal that had a little platform, not much support. And as I bent down, I fell.
Ah.
So I lied there. And beside calling myself every name under the sun, my plan worked. I scooted myself over to the sink, to the soft mat, picked my hands up by the sink, and got myself up. But everyone falls in their house
Yes.
over stupid things like I did.
Yeah. No, but again, having
I walked slowly, and I looked down, and Gayle says, "Don't do that. You're getting round-shouldered." I said, "I have to see where I'm walking."
Well, I think I noticed a change in her since she broke her shoulder.
Yes.
What happens, it creates a fear. And
Yep.
you change your whole posture and your walking.
The gait changes. I agree. My mom didn't break hers, but you had shoulder surgery, and she swears that she's never been the same since.
Because it's not the same.
Yeah, but
No.
it changes a little bit of you. Let me talk about because this is important as you do, and we keep saying that's how important. So working out, Mildred, it's so imperative, is it not? It doesn't matter what age you are.
Absolutely. I go on the new step. You know what that is?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
For the audience, it's a machine where you move your hands and your feet.
Yep.
And
You
I
saw
go
that at Friendship Village.
I go for 20 minutes.
Do you also lift weights? Do you do any kind of no? Did you ever?
Nope.
Because that's one of the things
Listen, I go marketing. And I could have 5 packages.
Oh.
I'm 100 years old, and I'm taking in packages. That's my weights.
That is weights.
Yes, that
But
is.
what I got her for the house, though, is I forgot the name of it. It's one of these things that you pedal at home.
For your legs.
Yeah. And also, if she can't lift it, it's weighted down. But if you put it on the table, you snap out the pedals, okay, and then you put in for the handles.
Okay,
so it works both.
And so working out, fashion. You're both fashionistas. I love that you instilled that in me. That's it. I'm all about that. What about this aspect? Because it's something that was very foreign. Probably you're getting really good with technology. She's doing wonderful with it. What do you think of social media and Facebook and Instagram and all these things that everybody's buried into, Mildred?
I have mixed emotion.
Yeah.
I have mixed emotion about the computer. I operate a Microsoft computer, and I'm very literate in that. I owned a travel agency for 35 years, and I still have my IATA card, and I still have a very secure network where I get into the airlines down to their last seat. And of course, I operate the iPad, iPhone. I feel we lost our privacy.
Yes.
Yes.
We lost our privacy.
Yeah.
Years ago, when Gayle and her brothers went to school and they had checking accounts, if it was overdrawn, the bank called my husband and said they're overdrawn. They'd let the checks go through, Not now.
Right.
If you're overdrawn 2 cents, it bounces. Unless you have it set up. But I have it set up where I have a money market that covers it, so nothing bounces. But not everybody does that. Not everybody is aware of these little options.
Mildred, it's dangerous in your age, both of your ages, of all the people that are trying to prey on the elderly and how easy they get you to click on things and they call you. You want to be real. You fell prey to that.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to that out there? What kind of advice would you give people that are getting older, that they are the victims?
The scammers.
Yes.
I bank with Bank America,
Mm.
and I do get something in asking questions. I don't answer. I don't answer.
Yes.
I'll call the bank. And they say no, it's not ours.
Mhm.
You initiate the call. Yes.
It has to have a 5-foot snow in Florida before I give anyone my social security number.
Oh, no, never, 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 never. Yeah.
So you two are
I
going
don't
to
fill in things for a free laptop or a free bottle of something. I don't.
They're getting very, very savvy.
let's talk about the fact that you are truly thriving and living. I mean, look at you. You're beautiful. Both of you are beautiful women. I was watching in the movie. I'm like, look at her just running around in the gym, and just so beautiful. All the pictures we saw and the videos we saw growing up and throughout the years, and then obviously still now. No health conditions. You're not really, and you're not big on taking medicine either, are you?
No.
No.
Of course. Number one, I went into the hospital with acute diverticulitis.
Mm.
And the surgeon came in and said, you're 90 years old, or 92 or 93.
It was only 3 years. It was 2020. So it was 3 years ago. 97.
97.
Yeah. If we do surgery, we're afraid you won't survive.
No.
I have to give some doctors compliments, if you don't mind.
Please.
I'm going to hook you up with a, what do you call it? What kind of doctor? Infectious disease doctor.
Oh, yeah.
When I met him, he was a young fellow who said his father is an infectious disease doctor in New York. He's down here. And his father said, stay down in Florida, you'll be happier. He treated me like I was 39. I didn't have to go through surgery, but I was on death's door. He made sure that I had a port in my arm. And for 4 to 6 weeks, I had a nurse come in every single day to give me a very high dosage of an antibiotic. And I worked it through. When they took the scans, everything was fine. After that, I had 2 friends with the same thing, and they did colostomies on them.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had to get surgeries to reverse it.
Yep.
So you have to be lucky in life too. And I was lucky because I had good doctors. You have to be lucky with doctors.
Oh, yes.
And you have to be willing to fire them, because there's the good ones that are out there.
You do your homework.
Your dad would have
Yeah.
fired.
You have to do your research.
I don't know whether you are aware that I was married to a funeral director.
Yes.
Yes.
And he always said, I bury doctors' mistakes.
Wow. That's a powerful statement.
He always said that.
Let's talk about this before we have to wrap up. The two of you are getting ready to go on a 17-day transatlantic cruise.
Right.
So still traveling to the nth degree. What are you most excited about with this upcoming cruise?
What am I excited about? I'm going to places. I've been to all the places. I don't know. I like a cruise.
But this is a luxury cruise.
It's a luxury cruise.
It's the finest cuisine on the ocean. There are 5-star, what are they? Michelin restaurants.
Oh, really?
Best cuisine on the ocean. Yes. And
Imagine for 17 days, you don't have to make your bed and you don't have to do laundry.
I want to come with you.
Yeah.
I want us to come with you.
That in itself is good.
Exactly.
But I must tell you about the cruise. Now,
Yes.
my son is going, and Gayle and I are going. We're 3 different personalities, but surprisingly enough, We get along well. We all do our own thing. We meet, we have breakfast together, we have lunch together. We go to the bar together. I will go to the casino. My son goes to the casino.
Yes, they like to gamble.
She does what she wants, and that's it.
No, I hear you're the queen of the happy hour.
Oh, yeah. Talk about your happy hour, Mother.
Oh, it's nice. I don't know.
What's your drink of choice?
I forgot your mother's name.
What's your drink of
This
choice?
is Jackie.
Huh?
Jackie.
Jackie, do you drink anything, or are you dry?
I like wine.
And you like whiskey too.
Oh, yes.
We have some whiskey here. We've got a Blue Label Scotch. What's your drink of choice, Mildred?
Vodka.
Oh, vodka.
What's that?
That's Blue Label Johnny Walker Scotch.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's single malt. You think I don't know, huh?
Do you like red wine?
Yes.
We're gonna have to come travel to see you in Florida.
And
I'll bring you a good bottle of
Yesterday
wine.
I walked into the bar, and guess what?
What?
They had a wine distributor there. And of course, not only did I taste it, I told them what I don't like.
Good for you. Hey, that garners respect. I'm glad that the two of you have found forgiveness with each other, because I wouldn't want one of you to toss the other over on the cruise.
No, look, Gayle came down
Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, right? And where do you think we went Tuesday night?
Happy hour?
Right to
Yes,
happy hour.
Straight to happy hour.
No time to unpack.
What's the earliest that you've ever had a drink? 10 a.m., 9 a.m., 8 a.m. What time
Well,
is it on the cruise?
there is a game called bridge.
Oh, yeah, that's early.
And I play bridge on Saturday morning from 10 to 12.
And there's
And
drinking?
my friend happened to bring some Bloody Marys.
Oh, to celebrate her birthday.
But I could tell you one thing.
What?
Even when my husband was alive, we never drank at home. Never.
Yep.
Only if we had company.
Absolutely.
We never drank in the cabin of a ship. We liked to go to the bar to speak to people.
He was not a drinker, my father.
No.
She's the boozer. Yeah.
Oh, I saw in the film that two of you also love to dance?
Oh, yeah, we were dancing.
Yeah. Well, we're also big. I mean, I have to attribute to my mother my sense of adventure. We were born. I was raised very near JFK. Back in the day, it was Idlewild Airport.
Okay.
And I just remember they were big travelers, and we would go to pick them up. And there was this one International Rivals building, and I'd see the people coming down the escalators. I mean, this is in the days you can go in, through the gates. You can meet your family coming off the plane. You remember those days?
Yes.
Right. And I'd see people coming down with turbans and wrapped in what looked like sheets. And it's like, I would want to know, who are they? Where are they from? What do they eat? What do they think? What's their life like? So my wanderlust started so young, because they didn't look like the people I grew up around. And I was so curious to learn about them.
Sure.
So my mother always had this, they loved to travel so much that she opened up a travel agency, because back in the day, you got a lot of pre-internet, you got all these benefits. So, I think it just was inherited in my DNA, my sense of adventure and travel. So, we do have several qualities.
Wait a minute, go ahead.
Very
where did I
similar
send you when you were young? To Europe.
Oh, well, this is interesting. So when I was turning 16, so the choice was a sweet 16 party, a nose job, which is the one she wanted me to get or take,
yes.
or a teen tour. And I found one called Paint in Italy, because I was an artist. And this would be, we'd visit the big cities and then stay in a pension in Italy with a tutor. And that was a no-brainer. But that was funny, because every time I was, about to do it or going to do it, we're going to get you the nose job.
We're going to get you the nose job. Exactly.
But she did go on that tour.
I did. It was fantastic.
Well, you know what?
It was that trip because my hair was down to my waist, and I used to be very
Her hair was
skinny.
down to her waist and out to here.
Which is gonna say,
Oh,
get
yeah,
out
I
here.
remember the
So
Big into the
before
screen.
that, I was straightening my hair. In third grade, she was buying this product called Curl Free. I don't know if anybody remembers. They came with pink combs to straighten it, and then she was getting it professionally straightened. Now I go off to Europe, and then the other thing I would also do is like, I don't know if anybody here remembers the bonded hair dryer. I would put these big, big rollers and a bonded hair dryer, which had the giant like vacuum cleaner tube coming out, going
Oh,
into
yeah,
the,
you're at that.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd put cotton over here because it'd be burning my ears, and I'd be under that for 4 hours, and then take that out and then wrap my hair in a big can here, and then it rained, forget it. So I knew when I headed on this trip, and by the way, I was much younger than everybody. I was only 15, but most of the people on the trip had already finished high school and were in art school. So I had to go natural. I had to wash my hair. And they loved it. So the first time in my life, I was around people going, "Oh, I love your hair. It's like lion's hair." Where I just thought, if there was a God, he cursed me with my hair. So when I came home, it was natural. She said, "I sent you away to Europe to become a lady, and look what you did with yourself."
Exactly.
But it was liberating for me, but very difficult for her.
Quick question: have the two of you been to St. Louis?
I have.
I have, but
I've
I
been
was
separately.
separately. I was there with my husband. We drove across country.
That means
What do you remember about St.
Hang
Louis?
on a minute. That
You were
means-
there too.
That means
You were in the car also.
that was 1966, and I think I went back. We had a turquoise Catalina Pontiac. We did a trip across country with my middle brother. But I think I did go back later. I don't remember why, because I know I did that.
The Arch.
Yes.
The Arch.
But I was an adult by that time.
And you said you were claustrophobic going up?
I did feel I'm not good with closed space,
Yes.
A
Yeah,
closed
that little
MRI, like me in a closed MRI, I have to like get in the
Yeah, yeah,
medication and yeah.
Mildred, what do you remember?
Together?
about St. Louis?
Do you live together?
No, Mom lives about an hour from me, but she visits a lot. I have her over a lot.
Oh, okay.
Did you end up having children or no?
I did not. I was not blessed, and I know that hurts her. But I had a severe blood clot when I was younger. So when my husband and I dated back in 2001, and we ended up being apart for 11 years, he truly believes that that's what saved my life, because in that time he had a vasectomy, and we weren't going to reverse it. And he thinks, honestly, that if we had stayed together, I don't know if I would have made it through childbirth. I have a very, very high risk and had one of the largest blood clots in medical history. So he believes it was God's way of saving us. And then,
I have a personal question.
yes, please.
What do you do for aggravation?
Aggravation? Oh, we can trust me.
You don't have children.
Huh?
Because you don't have children.
I have 3 dogs, as you heard barking.
Yeah.
No, my husband and I, we get into our arguments, and I will always love him, but then I hate him some days and like him some days. And then, as you said, have good makeup sex. That's important. But, and I've got 2 brothers. I have a half sister as well. They drive me crazy, as I'm sure I've driven them. But over the years, you get older, and then you have unbelievable love for each other, because time is ticking away, and you don't want to have a tumultuous relationship, and it's one of the things I teach as a life coach. Like, look, if you're not talking to your parent or you're not talking to your siblings, please reconcile, because they can be taken away. And I don't want to hear that you have regrets. We shouldn't live with regrets. I'm so glad the 2 of you have healed your relationship, and that you have found
regrets kill you when they are really death. Yes. No, I mean, and I think the biggest thing with us is, my mother's very intelligent.
Yes.
I'm very high on EQ, emotional intelligence. She's lower in that area. So the key is reframing how you look at that person. So this is what I teach in forgiveness. So when I dug into her past and learned about her tragedy, because everything was a secret, I did genealogy research. I found newspaper clippings and pieced together this narrative of all these horrible things that happened, and poverty in her childhood, and deaths and suicide attempts and whatnot, that she really didn't have a childhood. And that allowed me to reframe how I looked at her. So when we think of someone as a mother, there's expectations, right? That's what gets us upset, unfulfilled expectations. So now I saw her as a wounded child. And within my healing, I met a French woman who had a horrible childhood, and she was a facilitator of a forgiveness board game, like you throw the dice, a real board game. And the only thing I remember from that day is I threw the dice somewhere. She said, stand up and close your eyes. Imagine your mother as a little girl. Now, at that point, I had done my research and I saw this wounded little girl. Yeah. And then she said, imagine yourself as a little girl. And I knew I was a wounded little girl. And then she said, now you come together. Mm-hmm. It completely changed the relationship.
Sure.
Once I started looking at her as a wounded little child, I was able to change when the criticisms continued, it didn't bother me anymore. They bounced off. And I looked at her as a child screaming for love who was just criticizing me because that's what she knew how to do. And they stopped eventually because when people are critical to other people or abusive to other people, they do it to get a reaction. And usually it's always the most sensitive child who's preyed upon among siblings because they know that the person who's abusive, they're going to get a reaction.
Right.
In fact, I gave a workshop once and there was this beautiful woman, actress, inside and out, gorgeous. She was preyed upon by her father, but her sister wasn't. And her sister was with her when she got this nasty text from her father. And her sister went, just forget about him. Imagine him as a big baby in a diaper. And that's it. So once you could reframe and change how you look at the person, you change how you react to them. Yep. And that changes the dynamics.
That's powerful.
I'm very grateful that I did that. And now we're almost inseparable, right, Mom?
Absolutely.
You know what? You're 100 years old, which is just amazing. My mom had her palm read. This is so funny.
Oh, yeah.
And the woman said, you're going to live to what?
She had like 130.
She said, I don't want to live to 130 because I'll outlive
Jackie, do you believe it? Jackie, do you believe it?
Yeah.
I don't.
You have 100 years though, and look at how you are so spry, you're so agile, you're still driving, you're living alone, you're trading stocks.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think you have maybe 20, 30 more years? What?
Yeah. Hold on a minute. She's a cougar.
She's
goes to happy hour.
Yes.
She turns to the guy next to her.
Yeah.
I'm 99 and a half. I'm not picking you up, but do you want to talk?
Yeah.
And they go at it. And then he leaves and she goes to pay the check and finds out he paid for her. Yep. Then she goes, well, what was it? I'd like to leave a gratuity. Oh, don't worry. The waitress says he took very good care of us. She goes after those 50-somethings.
Mildred, what's your advice on dating?
On dating?
Yes.
I don't have advice on dating. I really don't. Honestly.
No?
Well, actually, when my father died.
You know what? I think I dated a couple of times after my husband died. And then I said to myself, why do I want to wash someone's underwear if I don't really love them? What's he giving me?
I fixed her up with my friend's father. They met in Toronto because my film was playing in Toronto. And he was like a snowbird. How was that date? What happened?
We went to, I forgot where we went already.
He didn't have a car. He was very economical. He was riding a bicycle. And
we went to a Chinese buffet. And he had a $2 coupon. And you know what? I must tell you something. I don't care if he didn't drive and he had the $2 coupon. If we had an intelligent conversation.
Yes.
Amen.
Someone to talk to.
Yes.
Whether it's about climate change, the stock market, someone to talk to.
Excuse me, in Montreal, you were sitting with him on my friend's porch going at it. So you were having some kind of nice conversation. That's what led to the date when he came to Florida.
It made such an impression on me, I don't even remember what we said.
I could talk to the two of you. We've got to find a way to come to Florida and have we have a good battle. Well, I want you to have an incredible time.
Have you ever come to Florida?
Yes, I will. We'll keep in touch. I promise you. We will come because we would have a blast together.
Oh, yes.
And you can have the vodka. I'll have some wine. You can have some whiskey.
Not bad.
Gail,
But
do you
I'll
drink?
impress you. I'll take you downstairs to my club.
She would love to take you to a
And-
club.
We'll sit down at a table, and I didn't open my mouth, and my drink is there.
She's the queen, and that's her court. She enters, and that's
Oh,
her.
I know. I saw that play
Oh,
out.
yes.
Yes. Gail, what's your drink of choice?
Well,
Ginger beer.
yeah, I'm
Well,
not. I'm
well,
not
wait a minute.
I'm not a drinker.
Wait.
What?
A button. She loves the shandy, so sometimes we
I
do
taught
that.
her about a
You know what a
you know what
shandy
shandy
is?
is?
No, what's that?
Okay,
It's
that
an
drink-
English drink and an Indian drink.
Well, it's not an Indian drink. A shandy is it's well in England and the UK they say they use lemonade, but their lemonade is not our lemonade. It essentially sweetens the beer. So here I like to use a ginger ale or a 7-Up and beer and mix it. So what we'll do is, because I don't like bitterness, but if I want to like feel a little something, I'm a very lightweight. So we order like separate ginger ale and a separate beer. We get 2 ice cold glasses and we make it. And hers has a little more beer than mine, and we make our drinks. Yeah.
And the first time I had it was in Manhattan. We went to a place for a burger, and it was hot. It was hot outside. And I had this cold shandy. That was so good.
And then we went to India twice, ladies. We went all over India. My father never wanted to go, and I always wanted to go. So when he passed,
I was
we've been
invited
traveling
to
a lot.
India by the Air India,
Oh, wow.
going first class all the way.
Only way to go.
But she didn't do it.
But I didn't go. He
Oh, you
want
didn't go.
Because he didn't. My father didn't want to go. So when he passed, so we have traveled. He passed in 2006, and then my doggy film, the one that I was telling you about,
A Dog's Life?
was invited to France to the
Have you?
Avignon Film Festival, and she said, "I'm coming with you." This is before we worked on the relationship, and I'm like, "You are?" And how could I say no? My father just died. She was alone. So that was the beginning of the turning point in our relationship. Do you remember that scene in the movie where she's having lunch with some people and I enter and they said, "So your mother was talking about you?" She said a couple of things. One is you could use a nose job.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. It was a topic of conversation with a lot of people.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
But that was the turning point for our relationship, and we have traveled all over.
And I'm so glad that there was this turning point because look what it's brought together to the two of you. You were recently on stage, Mildred, with Jax. Talk about that.
Yes.
And
How
she
awesome was that?
did you see the video? She wrote a song with her.
You wrote a song? Yes.
If you go on my Instagram, she wrote.
I saw that.
Wait,
He says something about 20. I'm 22.
22, right? It's supposed to be a takeoff on
wait a minute.
Taylor Swift.
They were not my words.
Yes.
It was her script. Lo and behold, we got invited by Jax. And this is what they did. They flew Gail down on a Sunday. They paid. Flew her back on Tuesday. Sunday, they hired a driver to take Gail and I up to Orlando to the Amway Center, put us in a hotel, fed us. We had a driver at our disposal. And there I am backstage of the Amway Center. Are you familiar with the Amway Center?
I am. Yes.
Holds 20,000 people.
Correct.
And there must have been 18,000 people there with lights. And she's on the stage and she calls me up on the stage.
How incredible was that?
Huh?
How incredible was that?
18,000 people waving a flashlight singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you feel?
Were you nervous?
No, I must be sick.
Did you eat it up?
Huh?
Did you eat it up?
I enjoyed every minute.
Yes.
And then we went backstage, they had food, so I ate. And they made a margarita for me.
Yeah, good margaritas.
Did you know who Jax was?
No.
I didn't either. When Jax
But
wrote me,
but-
I didn't know.
When I mentioned I was going with Jax, have an 8-year-old great granddaughter. Oh, I love her. She talks about Victoria's Secret. I love her.
Is that the biggest celebrity that's reached out?
Directly, but people have taken her video, like Maria Shriver reposted, and then I guess Maria Shriver has a paper, the paper she runs. Okay. So I didn't even know this, but someone on Facebook went, "Oh, congratulations. I read the article on, I forgot the name of her paper." And then Gwyneth Paltrow wrote on it too. So indirectly, people have followed her or, lifted her content or that kind of thing. But Jax is the first person we actually met.
So if there was a Hollywood celebrity that you would like to meet, who would it be, Mildred? Do you have a Hollywood crush on anyone? Since you're a cougar, evidently.
Now?
Yeah.
All the celebrities I like died.
She loves Frankie. Frank Sinatra. Would you like to be with Frank Sinatra?
No.
No. You listen to him all the time.
Who do you think is handsome in the movies?
Oh, yeah. Who's sexy, Mom?
Anybody?
Who's your guy?
Who's your hall pass?
They could be long gone. Who did you have the hots for?
Oh, he turned gay. Rock Hudson.
Oh, I knew you were going to say Rock Hudson.
I think he owed it. I don't think he turned it. You don't turn it. You just
you don't turn it?
No, you just turn it. Now, like,
yes, Rock Hudson was very, very handsome. But I'll agree with you. My husband says that. My husband actually does have those Hollywood looks. Mm-hmm. It's that yesteryear. And I mean, there's some good-looking guys. I think Ryan Gosling's very handsome. Mm-hmm. Brad Pitt's handsome. But yes, I agree. Nobody really now has those chiseled Hollywood looks like they did when you were growing up.
Years ago, you had Clark Gable, all of them.
Yep. Rock Hudson. I can see that. All right, ladies, I could sit here and talk to you forever. I know you've got...
I have a girl crush. I have a crush on somebody, not a girl crush. I have a crush, and I'm not a cougar.
Who is it?
I could watch him forever. He's a singer-songwriter. He is from England. He was on American Idol, I think, or one of those shows. He is drop dead gorgeous, sexy. His first letter of his first name starts with H.
H. Do you know
Harry Styles.
Oh. Well, that's who we need to get to reach out to.
I am obsessed with Harry Styles. I cannot tell you.
Mildred, you know who that is?
No.
You've got to show her. I wonder if we'll show you. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh, wow. I'm impressed.
I know, right? See?
Wow,
these two would hang together and be best friends.
Oh, my God.
Oh, what happened with Belafonte?
What?
What happened with you? Someone who said, I respect you. I forgot the name. Was it Belafonte?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Poitier?
Oh, Sidney Poitier. So many years ago, I was involved when I lived in Los Angeles in a nonprofit. It was like a mentor program. You were matched with a student when they were in 7th grade, and you mentored them through high school. And of course, it was started by this doctor, and LA is filled with celebrities. So every year they did this huge celebrity fundraiser. And on the stage, they would have, you name it, all these known, like the Mayor Reardon and Gil Garcetti. And then they had Mike Ovis, who then was the head of CAA. They had, oh my God, who's that famous singer-songwriter who's so gorgeous? I'm just blanking on his name. Anyway, and then they asked one mentor and mentee to speak. And I had never spoken then. And my knee-jerk reaction was to say no. And I'm like, what kind of mentor would be? Because there's like 1,000 people in the audience. I'm like, I have to say yes. So we wrote and rehearsed our thing. She was, her family was from Mexico. She had a lot of tragedy already in her life. This is during drive-by shootings and stuff and gang activity. Anyway, Rosa, she was brilliant. So it came our turn to speak. And I don't know why. This is in the 90s, probably early 90s. I remember the lights went on and I said something like you couldn't see because the lights are on you. And I heard everybody laugh. And I remember you remember that commercial, E.F. Hutton speaks and everyone listens?
Everyone listens?
I felt like we speak and you and everyone's listening because you can hear a pin drop. We got the standing ovation. We go down, the stairs are in the front, and everybody had, it was a luncheon. So everyone had just sat down, and there was Sidney Poitier. And, when you get that love for an audience, I had this adrenaline rush I had never had, before or after. And there he was. And I looked at him, and he's looking up at me because I'm walking by, and I bend down and I hug him and I go, I am such a fan of yours. And he looked up at me and he goes, I'm such a fan of yours. And I got back to my table, and the LA Times was there, and they said, you should take your show on the road. And then the next day I was sitting in a cafe. I'm like a cafe writer, and the radio was on, and oh my God, who's that? Who is this really sexy? Oh, my singer-songwriter. Anyway, Jackson Brown.
Oh, okay.
When Jackson was young and hot, and the DJ was talking about Jackson Brown on Saturday, and I'm thinking, oh, he probably had a concert Saturday evening. She goes to station break. She comes back, and I hear my name. She said her friend dragged her there that day. She didn't even want to go to this luncheon. She started repeating things I said, and she signed up. And they told me they had the most number of people sign up, at least at that point, for it. And so I was like, wow. And then I never spoke again for years. But it was it was Sidney Poitier, and it was very warm moment.
I love it.
Yeah.
I am so glad that this has really come full circle and that you all have gone through, obviously, what you've gone through.
Gone through hell and back.
You too. Exactly. Hell and back.
Married me.
That gives everybody
Like,
that's
ever
watching.
get married, Mom?
I want to follow your life. We're going to come down to Florida. I promise you. We're going
And
to
if you
celebrate.
know a nice guy.
Yes. All right. We're gonna hook up Gayle.
Well, I have to tell you, when I was on the Today Show a million years ago,
Yes.
and actually this is for the documentary, and Al Roker did the story, and he didn't want to do it. The New York Times had done a big article, and that's how I got booked. And then and Katie Couric saw me in the green room, and you saw that in the film. Anyway, my mother goes, I was thinking, how'd I do? You sound too Jewish. You need to take elocution classes. But anyway, the producer calls me and says, Gayle, we got a call from somebody who's interested in you. And his last name is Kirschenbaum.
What?
Can you believe it? So we joked, we don't have to hyphenate. The guy stood me up. Could you believe that?
No.
What?
Right? He should get rid of his name.
Absolutely.
That's a bad seed.
Yeah, right? So we're going to find somebody watching the show.
Okay.
We're going to hook up Gayle. We're going to play matchmaker. Which
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, once again, so I want you to look it up. It is Look at Us Now, Mother. That was a 2015 documentary. Also, we mentioned earlier, she was very big into her dog, Chelsea. Big dog lover, just like me. A Dog's Life. And then you also have a memoir that you have been writing. And it's not, we could change the name, you said. You were going to do Bully to Besties. But you said somebody reached out. And what's the name they want you to change it to?
Somebody said I should call it Monster to Mom Star.
Monster to Mom Star.
So I signed with a literary agent, so fingers crossed we get a publishing deal, because I would love this book to come out so Mom can enjoy the notoriety again.
Yes. Well, both of you, you are such a pleasure, and I am so excited to follow back up with you, see how this cruise goes. I know you've got more in the future. I mean, you're not slowing down anytime soon, nor are you, which you're both inspirations of just where you are and just how you attack life. Again, a forgiveness coach and forgiving each other. Anything that you haven't said to each other that you want to say right now, look at each other and say to each other?
What do we get? You want to have
What do we
salad
have
for
for
lunch?
lunch?
We're both hungry.
Cheers to 100
Great
years.
minds think
Mildred.
alike.
Cheers to 100 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you
You're
for
right.
inviting us. This is
Absolutely.
My toast.
Toast, exactly.
Yeah, toast.
They're
Happy
empty,
birthday,
but we'll
Mother.
fill
Wait,
you.
wait. I have this. My toast.
from the Athletic Center, the coffee.
Coffee.
Lower it.
Coffee. Yeah.
Yes, and soon happy hour. Thank you so
Okay.
very much. I'm going to
Thank
stay
you.
in touch. We're going to
Okay.
come to Florida. I promise you. I make promises and I keep them. We're going to come to
Okay.
Florida and we're going to come celebrate your 100th.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Mildred and Gayle Kirschenbaum. Gayle, you want to give your website?
Jackie, stay well.
Should I give my what? Yep.
Me too.
So
Happy birthday.
if they want to follow you on Instagram,
Yes. Okay. So if you want to follow me or us
yes.
on Instagram, it's the same. It's GL Kirschenbaum. So the Kirschenbaum is Kirschenbaum. Same handle on TikTok for those TikTokers.
Yes.
And then if you go there in my link tree, it links you to my website. I have a TED Talk called No More Drama with Mama. Links you to everything, my forgiveness work, my films, my photography, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
All right. Any last words, Mildred?
Nope.
No.
Everyone, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
And it's all small stuff.
And it's all small stuff. Yeah.
All right, ladies. Cheers to you. Thank you so very much for joining.
Bye now, and thank you for having us.
You are welcome. And everybody, thank you again for tuning in to another edition of The Real Monica Adams Show.
Thank you.
Warm weather, sand beaches, and boats galore. It's not Florida, it's a Lake of the Ozarks. Florida Direct Palm Trees brings tropical flair to your patios, docks, and yards. From a few feet all the way to 25 feet, there are palm trees for every property. Florida Direct also provides palm tree potting soil, palm fertilizer, large decorative pots, and a wide selection of locally grown tropical flowers and plants to add the perfect accent to your tropical paradise. Florida Direct Palm Trees, bringing paradise to your patio for 14 plus years.